Welcome everyone to Midwest Tree ID. On this channel, it is my mission to help you learn an abundance of trees that grow right here in the Midwest, and some key features on how to identify them. There's just one thing to clarify before we begin. We're not going to be throwing hatred or ridiculing any of the species that we're going to be talking about. But we do, however, want to encourage thoughtful conversation in the comments about personal experiences and things like that. Please try to remember that everything has value and that we are here to enjoy nature and everything it has to offer. So without anything else, let's jump right in. Hey everyone, welcome back. We're in Carl Park in Urbana, Illinois, and today we are talking about Acer griseum. And this is the paperbark maple, and it's really probably one of my favorite maples. One of the more unique, very unique, quite rare in the landscape, although it's becoming more popular as more nurseries are starting to realize it's a very cool tree. And we will talk about more of the reasons why here in just a little bit. But for now, um, unlike most of our maples, paperbark maple is going to have a compound leaf, primarily with 3 leaflets, and these leaflets are going to be about 3 to 4 inches long, and they're pretty much going to have these little tiny little teeth on the edges that kind of surround them. They're real dark green, typically, and all 3 leaflets are pretty much going to be about the same size. And then we're looking at some seeds that have already developed as well. And just like all our other maples, these are going to be your helicopter seeds. And these are actually, feel like they should be pretty good seeds. So we may try to grow it in the nursery. That would be something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while, but haven't ever really tried to mess with. But paperbark maple is another smaller maple, typically grown as a single trunk, although there are um, multi-stem specimens out there that are sold in the nurseries as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at that bark, and we'll take a look at the habit. So you can kind of see here why it gets that name, paperbark maple. And the bark is very, very flaky, much like your paper birches. And the cool thing about this bark isn't just that it's exfoliating like this, but the color of this bark is this amber brownish red. It's really, really cool, and it can create a really nice effect in a landscape. And who wouldn't want something like this? I mean, look at that cool exfoliating bark as it goes up there. You can see kind of where it has already flaked off. It's real smooth. It still kind of feels waxy or even a little bit papery, but very, very cool bark. So even from standing over here, you can see how bright that bark is. It really stands out, especially with these dark green leaves that it has. But it's going to be a much more rounded tree, kind of small. It's not going to get much bigger than about 30, maybe 35 feet, with a spread of about 15 feet or so. Um, and it's just a nice small tree that you can use in a lot of different ways. And it's not really one that's going to self-seed much in the grass. So it makes it a little bit more easy to use than like your hedge maple or an Amer maple, which are pretty prone to still self-seeding a little bit in the landscape. Paperbark maples are predominantly native to China, not here to the United States, but they do very, very well around here. They are a slow-growing tree compared to most of our other maples. Pretty much all of our other maples are going to be relatively fast-growing. This one, definitely not. Very slow. You can kind of see on some of these here, there's not much more than an inch or so of growth. And it's not done. It may still put on another couple inches of growth, but it typically doesn't put on much more than about 5 inches of growth a year. And then, of course, once it gets to be the age that this one here is, it will slow down even further, of course. But yeah, so you can use these up close to structures. Their root systems really aren't super aggressive like some of our other maples. And they don't, like I said earlier, they don't self-seed real prolifically either. So that kind of is fairly unique. A lot of Asiatic species do tend to self-seed a bit more prolifically than some of our European trees. But the paperbark maple would make a great addition to almost any landscape. I mean, obviously we don't want to overplant anything, but Yeah, we'll see if we can't get these growing in the nursery, and I'll give you updates on that. But until then, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for the Paperbark Maple. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.